Good morning, everyone. It's the morning after. It's the final word show. Hope everyone is doing as well as they can be. Obviously, the final word is a show where I like to do 24 hours or a day after the game is finished. It allows people time to reflect on what's really happened. I know certainly my adrenaline was flying high yesterday. I was absolutely furious, I mean, I've gone through a long period of time where I'm just used to David Moyes doing what he does, which you saw yesterday. And my feelings hit the ceiling last year. After that, by hook or crook, we won the Europa Conference. This season in the league, you look at it, we might be 7th or 8th in the league, everyone, this morning. But when you go all the way down to 11th or 12th, if those teams win all their games in hand or certainly get points in hand, we could be as low as 10th or 11th. So don't look at the league table. It's a very weird league last couple of years, a very mixed and very poor league. If you look at the bottom 10, West Ham could lose 3-4 games in a row. They still be where they are. It's a weird little league where the top 4 are running away with it. Then you got maybe, and then from 5th to 7th or 8th, they kind of bunched together. Then the bottom 11, bottom 12, there's not much quality there at all, really. So don't look at the league table. But going back to my feelings, my anger really come out yesterday after a long time, because I've just been used to it. And it's just like, the love for football's gone since last season, certainly this season in the league. Europa night, obviously, that was great. Amazing, wonderful. But generally in 80-90% of the games with David Moyes in charge the last 24 months or so, the passion for me is gone. I don't go as regularly as I used to, as you know. I watch the games and it's just, we used to score. Obviously I'm happy, but I'm not as happy as I used to be. We score a goal, scream, jump up and down. I don't know what it is. It's just a lot of it has gone. And it typified everything. Then it typified yesterday, and for me, obviously joining the chat. Hopefully, I might get one or two guests in to see if they can make it. A lot of comments last night. We'll go through each point as it happens. But for me, before I really dig deep into the final word, I think for me, it's a transfer window, everyone. It's David Moyes' inability to sign players. The board have given him all the money he needs. They've given him more or less a reasonable license to go and buy who you want, and he just doesn't want to do it. He's very happy buying defenders, CDMs, but anything sort of skill involved in terms of a striker or a winger he just doesn't want to do it. And you could look at Paqueta. Was that really his signing? Danny Ings, that was Sullivan's signing. So there's a bit of a mess there. Calvin Phillips is definitely his signing. We can see that, So the club, like I said, David Moyes is a pain in the backside. The quicker he goes, the better. But the long-term problem will always be there between Sullivan, Tim Stuyton, whoever comes in as manager. I doubt if Sullivan will fully leave the recruitment alone. I don't think he will. That will always be a problem. The stadium is a separate problem, really. But the fan base will get frustrated with Moyes and the owners. That will always be in the back. It's not healthy. It will remain there until Sullivan goes and the new owners come in. Simple as that. The cloud over the fans will not lift. But going back to David Moyes, always going a fucking different tangent. But David Moyes, a lot of problems. But it starts off with the transfer windows. He cannot manage a transfer window. And if you look at if and when he leaves, it's going to be a lot of work for the new manager to be done. And because there's so many windows, he doesn't recruit enough. You're going to find, again, there's going to be so many people leaving on free contracts. You got Creswell, you got Mabuma, you got kind of Johnson, just top of my head. There's a lot of problems. And then he complains that, we didn't settle into the new season very well because we had to buy so many players and so many people left. Well, if you'd bought 2 players in the winter window, which you could have done, if you really focused, that makes 2 less people you need to buy in the summer, right? And because he didn't really buy anyone in the winter window, there's going to be double work either for him or the new manager to be done. Okay, I know Kudus has come in, I know Alvarez has come in, Paqueta the year before, and people like that, and Bowen sort of 4 years ago. Mascarenos and people. It's just not enough. It's just not enough. Cafal's in over 30. He doesn't want to sign a new contract. You've got Emerson, who's really, really good, but as soon as a player hits 30, for me, you got to start looking at sort of someone challenging him, a lot younger person, and there's no one there. And he's got no squad and he's got no bench. Right, and these are his players, and as I keep saying, you look at the impact the Spurs manager has made in literally 2 windows, and Moyes in 8-9 windows. There's no comparison, right? He can't even say that. Oh, and he came in the summer. These are not my players, and you give him time. It's his squad. It's his choice. And when you look at, listen, I was getting pissed off with Benrahma. I was getting pissed off with Kehrer, but I'd rather have him now on the bench than no one. I did not know when we quickly got rid of Benrahma, quickly got rid of Kehrer. I didn't know that no one's coming in to replace them. And when Calvin Phillips came in, I didn't know that no one else is going to come in. So when you look back and think we got rid of all those players and we brought in someone we didn't need, who's in all kinds of trouble at the moment for one reason or another, whose fault is that? And there's no reason why the club should be run like that, because we weren't in relegation danger. We won a trophy last year. We had good money in the summer to spend and a bit left over in the winter window. There's no excuse to be panicking or not panicking, or everyone arguing about who they want. Sullivan wants that player. Tim Staunton wants a younger player. Moisey wants a more boring standard defensive player. It's a complete mess, and who suffers? The fans. There's people who went to the Newcastle game yesterday. They left 3 a.m. There's some people who spent £100 to £200 on trains and hotels to see that. You know, I'm going to go into the chat now before we go into the more finer points of it, though. But it's an absolute joke. Absolute joke. Good morning, sir. Hope you are doing good. Yeah, the sooner the better. The sooner the better, my friend. The sooner the better. Absolutely, mate. It's just getting worse, isn't it? Absolutely getting worse with David Moyes. You know, we kind of, by hook or crook, well, we're not even getting any wins. I had a look at it. It's been a while, and it's certainly since January, it's been a case of a game of 2 halves, because we don't have anything on the bench. So often we start okay, and then we lose the game in the other half, or the other way around. We have a really poor half, poor setup, and then he kind of does something he should have done in the first half, which is the right lineup, the right people in the right spots. Sometimes he started with Antonio on the bench, and we've struggled. Then he's woken up, and then we've more or less, especially in the Burnley game, sort of got back, somehow got a draw and things like that. It's an absolute joke. I mean, we all know what the right lineup was, which was the beginning, wasn't it? The right lineup was the one he started with, which is a striker up front. And if that's Antonio for now, that's Antonio for now, right? And stick with it. And then it's I don't know if it's I know the best, I'm stubborn, I'm going to sit on this 2-goal lead. And the difference at the moment is that the players, I've heard Kufal and Zuma have come out and mentioned that, in more or less words, that they're fed up with it. They can't believe that they had all the momentum, they gave it away, they surrendered, like I said. It's like giving the keys to someone to say, here's my house, go and take whatever you want. And Newcastle must be laughing, right? I mean, okay, we can go into VAR and things like that, but we were 3-1 up and cruising. And David Moyes in the press conference said that he felt Newcastle were well on top and he had to stop the tide. There was no tide. The tide started after Calvin Phillips came on. We stopped attacking. There was no focal point, nothing up there. And he did it in one of the other games, bringing Johnson on, if you remember. Took Antonio off, but Johnson on, and we struggled again. And then obviously we got through Europa, but then in the first leg, Freiburg, he picked the wrong lineup, no striker up front. And then he brings strikers on very late in the game. It's too late by then. I think Danny Ings came on yesterday, 87, 88, 89th minute. It's a complete joke. There must be some mental block in the guy who just doesn't know how to go forward with the team, really. Absolute joke. Brian's in the house. Brian, how you doing, mate? Absolutely, mate. And the thing, Brian, what it is, we all have an off day. We all have a day when our mind is not working. This is happening so often now, Brian. It's frustrating the hell out of people. And whether the board has frustrated us, that is a magic question. We don't know, mate. We don't know the way they're thinking. And I don't really want to go into, is he going to contract? Is he going to get a contract? Is he going to get sacked? I don't know with the board. I want him sacked. You want him sacked, right? But we don't know what the board's thinking. And it's not even worth discussing because we don't know. We don't know. More likely they'll keep him because they think we're not in danger of going down. We're in the quarterfinals of Europa. I don't know. But the thing is, do they really know who the next manager is going to be? They rarely scout him. They wait until the summer. Then they look around who's out of a job and then pick one of them. It's just simple as that. And to be honest, even if they were kind of proactive and knew who they wanted, someone like the Wolves manager, I don't know. I don't think any manager would come now. So left it very, very late. You should have gone in the summer. Nice handshake. Say well done. Leave with your head held high. And we would have moved on and given that Rice money to the new manager. But no, we don't do things like that. Yep, we've got Spurs coming up, mate. We've got Spurs coming up Tuesday, I think, isn't it, in the evening. Spurs are one of the informed teams playing wonderful, wonderful football. And if anything, that's going to be a team who, love to play football like that. Oh, their movement, their ambition to go forward. And in that Chelsea Spurs game, if you remember, they're down to 9 players. They still nearly won the game going forward. And here we're 3-1 up and we're putting defensive players on. It's probably 2 managers as far different in styles as you can imagine. You got Spurs guy, which is my style. And then you got Moyes. It's not West Ham. It's very, very frustrating. Good morning, William. DeCanio, how you doing, mate? Great player in your time. Hope you're doing well in Italy there, mate. Thanks for joining in. You have DeCanio in the chat all the way from Italy. Yeah, Savio was bad, wasn't he? I think was it Sanchez? Do you remember the CDM Pellegrini bought? He was bad. Sanchez was terrible. 75,000 a week. That's the thing, Brian. He thinks he's a defensive coach. He thinks he puts in 2, 3, 4 CDMs every game, but we've got terrible defence. We've got a terrible record. There's a table that says West Ham have let in the most amount of shots, isn't it, out of the whole Premier League. So we are not really a defensive team, and nor can we do it, really. What certainly is our kind of main point is the 3, isn't it? The Kudos, Paqueta, Bowen, they are world class. And then, like I kept saying, David Moyes, if you can't find that striker that you're going to take 10 years finding, just find someone just half physical, can hold it up. That's all we need. We just need a focal point. He doesn't have to score a lot. He doesn't have to run down the channels a lot. Just someone there who can reasonably hold it up. Fairly powerful, good upper body strength. And the 3 will join. That's all we need for now. If you really got these 10 boxes and you're not going to buy a striker until all 10 boxes are ticked and checked, which is what David Moyes is doing, we could be waiting a fucking decade before David Moyes finds a striker. It's absolutely crazy. I mean, I don't know if any of you know that Zaha was offered to West Ham on the last day or so of the window, and I would have loved Zaha at West Ham. He carried Crystal Palace's front line on his own for years, playing in probably one of the least forward-looking teams out there. And Zaha, with Paqueta, Kudos and Bowen, you imagine that, right? Zaha can easily play up front on his own. He's fine with it, right? And you imagine all those 4 interacting with each other. So David Moyes said no to Zaha. You've seen people like Jimenez at Fulham, right? He could have done half a good job for us on the bench, right? He can hold it up. He's a strong guy. There's options out there if you really want to make it happen. And we can't say like in the old days, oh, they don't want to sign for West Ham. We are one of the top 7 or 8 if you look at the league tables, winning a trophy, amount of money we've got, and we're doing well. Just build on it. We're not building on it. You know, so there's no excuse like that player that was on. All the players in the world want to come to the Premier League, right? Gone are the days when we were competing with Italy or Spain or Germany. We are way out there in terms of the money we pay, how rich the league is. Every player wants to play in the Premier League, so there shouldn't be any issues in recruiting people. We're in Europe as well, so there's no excuse for saying that player doesn't want to come or we can't pay them as much. Those other leagues cannot compete with us in terms of the wages we offer, the lifestyle we offer. People want to come to London. There's no excuse. We were doing fine. We were doing fine with the lineup. Antonio up front, 3-1 up. All looking good, and for one reason or another, and it's not happened the first time. He did this at Chelsea last season when I lost it. If you remember, we were 1-0 up. Antonio got that lucky goal at Stamford Bridge. He brings on a couple of defensive signings, and we lose 2-1. Same thing happened, and there's a round in the middle of the second half as well. Oh, mate, I don't want to go down that route, but I hope you're doing good. I don't think anyone got shifted up, Brian. I don't think anyone got shifted up, mate. I think there was no one. Even Bowen wasn't trying to fill in, mate. Even Bowen wasn't trying. So it's absolutely nuts. I don't think there's anyone, and I think the players are just fed up. Everything was working good, linking up, and what he's trying to save him. I mean, that's kind of. I mean, if anything, that probably psyched Newcastle up. Who don't forget they were losing so many players on the pitch. Almiron came on and went off. I think they ran out of subs. Yeah, the thing with Ings is he can't play up front on it by himself. So we've literally got a bench he can't use. I don't regard Calvin Phillips as a player anymore. I don't regard Johnson is on the way out. I think he's linked with Feyenoord this morning and other clubs than Palace. Ings and Cornet, I don't regard them as any players he wants to use. We don't have a bench. How can he play the remaining season, what's left of it, with literally 11 people and dig them into the ground until they're injured or something like that? It's a real issue, and how the club have not solved that during the window, I don't know. But before we carry on in the chat, there's a couple of things. Yeah, so obviously the David, for me, it's a transfer window. It's the squad, and yeah, it's in-game management. It's all that experience, but he doesn't know what he's doing. Brings on the wrong subs at the wrong times, and by hook or crook, when he does set it up in the right way, he can't wait to go back to the old defensive way, really. Calvin Phillips, whether that was a penalty or not, I don't think it was, right? I don't think it was, but apart from that, there's a lot of things Calvin Phillips did wrong. In fact, he didn't do anything right. So one of the Harvey Barnes goals, Harvey Barnes goes past him, brushes past him. Calvin Phillips has done this in other games, right? I think it was the Villa goal. So the Villa goal and the Newcastle goal, the guy who scored the goal from long way out, they actually go past Calvin Phillips and they brush themselves past Calvin, and he's like, he gets out of the way to say, go on, mate. So that VAR, Calvin Phillips very unlucky. Okay, that's partly the story. But the bigger story is that, why does he keep coming on? I mean, Cornet's hardly done anything wrong, and he's not allowed to play anymore. And this is a proper David Moyes signing. He giving him chance after chance after chance. I don't know what more he wants to see. And you've seen all the images of him walking up to the team coach, sticking his middle finger at one or two West Ham fans, giving him stick. I don't know what's going to happen on the back of that. Some players would be banned by the club for a couple of games, or would be certainly spoken into. I can't see him. I mean, again, I don't know the way the clubs run. For me, I said a couple of games ago, I couldn't see Calvin Phillips playing for West Ham again. But it keeps happening. It's just really, really weird. The other thing I want to come down to is, okay, Kufal and Zuma have come out and said it's not good. We were in the game. We don't think the changes were good. But then I don't think we got a leader. I don't think we got a leader in the dressing room like Noble used to be. I remember one or two things happened in the past, and Noble and Rice went up to the board and had a word about the tactics, I believe, a couple of years ago. Concerns about the window, why we're not seeing. We always had that player representative. It doesn't seem to happen. And again, I'll go back to the incident. It very much looks like Harvey Barnes, certainly before his second goal was scored. He punches Kufal. And Kufal being so nice, again, which is a big problem with us, didn't complain. They carried on arguing. Kufal saying, you hit me. No one mentioned it. No one saw it. Captain didn't see anything. No one brought it to the attention. I know you shouldn't have to bring it to the attention of VAR and the ref, but this is the modern world. You've seen Gordon. He wins so many penalties, right? Bit like Salah. Very, very clever what they do. You need that. And we don't roll around enough. Apart from Paqueta, Bowen doesn't win enough free kicks. Antonio doesn't win enough free kicks. A lot of them don't. And this is what you need in the game. You need that streetwise thing in you to kind of, I don't know what you call it, cheat to win a game. Or it's the modern game. And this is at the business end of the season, where game after game, we're being naive. Our squad isn't good enough to last a full season, and we're losing precious points after points, game after game after game after game, right? And I'm telling you, when January the 1st, when that New Year's Day happened, have a look at the league table, we were a good 5-6 points clear and comfortable in a European spot around 6th place, looking really comfortable, well ahead of Brighton and things like that, and Man United, Chelsea, Newcastle, and we've given it all away. And I go back to saying, don't look at the league table and think we're 7th or 8th. Once everyone has played the same set of games, we're going to come down a notch a lot. And it's frustrating that every year, last season, you remember, we didn't sign any players. We went really out of form around this time of the year again, focused on the Europa Conference. We lost to Brighton and we messed up a Europa spot. But luckily, we still got in there through winning the tournament. So David Moyes knows what happens, that we keep faltering in this last 2-3 months of the season because of the January window, because the squad not being good enough, because he doesn't rotate enough. He's seen it season after season after season. Even like I keep mentioning that in lockdown when we got into Europe, we missed out on Champions League by 1 point because certainly Jesse Lingard came in, and look at the difference he made. And then David Moyes knows what happens when you buy someone in January. And then the following January, he should learn and say, oh yeah, I remember when Lingard came in, look how much difference, I should do it again. But he fucking doesn't do it. And he didn't, and we still needed one more body in there to protect our CDM area, and Rice got injured. We lost all those points. You've seen the stats with Paqueta, isn't it? We've never won a game with Paqueta not playing. So it's all there. Our squad is very fragile. Certainly, yes, 3, 4, 5. Very, very good players. But if Bowen gets injured, Antonio, Kudos, or one of them, we've got no one to come in. What, we're going to put Johnson on the wing? We're going to put Danny Ings up front? It's going to collapse like a deck of cards. And this is the business end of the season, right? And you've made all that good work up to January. You're in the top 6, you're in Europa, you're in the FA Cup, and you fucked it all up. And that, don't forget that Bristol City game. He put on players that he's never used for a year. He didn't even look at. He didn't even motivate. All those players in the Bristol City game, he chucked them all in there. You know, Johnson, all them lot, and they collapsed. Ben Rama didn't want to play for him. And it all goes back to no squad, no bench. So you've seen in all those games what he's done. And a lot of you rightly so unhappy in that Liverpool League Cup. We gave that game away to Liverpool because we didn't have a squad. He wanted to rest 1 or 2 key players, and the ones coming in weren't good enough. And so you would think, okay, in January he will address that. Fucking didn't. And I don't understand the mentality of the guy. There's no shortage of money. There's no shortage of confidence or people back. There's no excuse not to buy. You know, like I said, people would join West Ham. We're doing all right. We're not struggling. We've got good players in the England setup and other international. We've got Brazil international in our team, regular. You've got Kudos, one of the most exciting players in the league. You've got Bowen. You've got really good players that people love to join us, you know. It's just, it is what it is, isn't it? Absolutely nuts, mate. Absolutely nuts. Oh, mate, I know what you mean, mate. I know. Yeah, I mean, listen, we don't know. We don't know, but we know how we feel. We know why it's happened, why it keeps happening. That's all we can say, mate. I don't know. Like I said, I don't know if Moyes is going to get a new contract or not. I don't know when and if he's going to get the sack. But certainly what we can talk about is the same mistakes after mistakes, season after season, window after window. It's the same thing. Absolute same thing. I hope a bit more than that, mate, this morning. It's never going to be perfect, William, until Sullivan is here. It's never going to be perfect. The ground is a huge separate issue on its own. That's going to get more and more important as the seasons go by. Trust me on that one, mate. But certainly on the pitch, we could be some. It's a shame, isn't it? We got the making of such a good team, and it kind of is. But it's just the managers holding everyone back with the tactics and everything. You know, and you've seen Paqueta playing for Brazil when they were zipping it around against England. Look how much better he even looked. Look how good Bowen even. I mean, I know Southgate ain't ideal, but you know, playing with better players and that kind of thing, it improves you even more. And I think you haven't seen nothing yet. If a good manager came in like the Spurs manager and he had players like the ones we got up front, we would look even better. We would easily be in that top 6. I'm telling you right now. See what happens, isn't it? That's all right, mate. How you doing, mate? Right, so basically, this is Peter Singh, and if you look above, we're kind of highlighting and promoting. He's doing a live West Ham memorabilia auction on 8th of April at 8 p.m. UK time on his Facebook live. So all the details are up there of the charity number, and based in Portugal, and rescues abused animals, notably dogs. I think Peter's living with 4750 dogs at home. Who does that? So we can all do our bit. Log in online next Friday. If you've got any articles to give, even better. We've all got things lying around West Ham related that we're not sure what we want to do. We've all forgotten if we even had them. Yeah, I've given a few. I think, yeah, it's the least we can do. I mean, Peters does such a good work, you know. A lot of these dogs he rescues come in a really bad situation, haven't eaten, often got eye problems, leg problems, heart problems, and he builds them up. And there's not a lot of money to go around. He struggles often himself, and we all try to help as much as we can, really. So the details are at the top of the screen. I'm hoping to do a show with Peter in the coming days to highlight what kind of items we've got, really. So yeah, no problem, mate, on that. I don't even, yeah, I mean, I was following his post-match conferences, and I'll probably look at it, mate, but yeah, the guy is bonkers, isn't he, mate? Absolutely, absolutely brilliant, William. And he wanted to come, and he's hard to get hold of. It hasn't worked out for him in Turkey. You wanted to come. Absolutely terrible, mate. Anyone who's smart, attacking, the fans would love. David Moyes doesn't want him. Give David Moyes another CDM. You'll take it off your hands, mate. Oh, thank you very much. No problem. Yeah, thank you for that. You know, then he looks for these big fucking CDMs that can't even move around, mate. Yeah. I know, mate. I know. But I don't know when it's going to happen. It just drives me mad, the board. Yeah, I mean, you see you guys in the chat, yeah. Yeah, I know, mate. Yeah. It is bad. VAR is absolutely bonkers, mate. That's kind of part of the story, isn't it? Part of the story is we dig our own fucking hole, don't we, to jump in, mate? But VAR, yeah. And I said there is an agenda in the business end of the season. They look at the league table, they get worried when non-top four, top six teams are doing well. They want to put them down a peg, you know, so certainly very, very odd, mate. And if you see when this penalty was given, the second penalty, Gordon's laughing. He can't believe it. He's laughing in everyone's face. He's laughing at Calvin Phillips. He's laughing at the ref. It's fucking hilarious. I can't believe what's going on. Absolutely ridiculous, mate. I mean, that's it from me, everyone. Apart from that, I wanted to promote this for Frankie. So Frankie again will be doing these things at the Colour Factory near the Eatonwick station. It's before the Leverkusen game, the first leg, everyone. Go online, go on Facebook. West Ham Fan Factory it is. Look for it. It should be there, the details. Get some tickets. You can get good food, VIP tickets, non-VIP tickets. Watch the game with fellow West Ham fans. So yeah, he did these last year at the conference final, semi-final. So I was hoping Frankie would come on and then we would talk about if he's got any, like Frank McAvenny was walking around Martin Allen last time to help out. So this is what he's doing at the Colour Factory, right next to Eatonwick Station before the Leverkusen game. Get your tickets on that. And that's it from me, really. I need to shoot off. My battery's about to die. But listen, really grateful for you guys coming in this morning, getting things off your chest, and we march on and see what happens. It is frustrating. What can we do apart from just talk to each other and hopefully everyone just doesn't jump over a bridge or train track or anything, really, and we'll see. I don't even want to think about a Tottenham game yet. I want to enjoy my Easter weekend. Like I said, try to switch off if you can, like me. As soon as this show switches off, go back to doing something good. Go to a pub, go for a nice walk with your pets or your children. Do something. Don't think about West Ham today. Switch off, enjoy your weekend, and then we'll start thinking about Tottenham around Monday, Tuesday, everyone. So God bless. Subscribe if you haven't. Thank you for your support. Take care, everyone.